Imagine working two jobs, sacrificing weekends and skipping sleep, yet still watching every dollar slip through your fingers. You're not lazy. You're not bad with money. There's something bigger at play. A system. A trap. From benefit cliffs that punish you the moment you earn more, to healthcare bills that wreck your credit, to banks charging extra because of your zip code. Every step forward can feel like two steps back. Over the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly how the poverty trap works and why working harder alone won't set you free. Ready to uncover what's really holding you back and learn the first steps to break free? Let's dive in. Picture this. You're born into a family that can barely afford food. Your parents work multiple jobs, but still struggle to pay rent. You want to go to college, but there's no money for tuition. You need a car to get to better jobs, but you can't afford one. You're essentially trapped in a cycle where being poor keeps you poor. This is what economists call a poverty trap. Here's the brutal truth. Escaping poverty often requires money you don't have. It's like needing experience to get a job, but needing a job to get experience. The system seems designed to keep you stuck. But let me paint you a clearer picture with some real scenarios. Meet Sarah, a single mother living in a rural town. The only jobs available pay minimum wage at a local diner or gas station. Sarah is incredibly smart and could easily handle a corporate job in the city that pays 3 times more. But here's the catch. She can't afford the security deposit for an apartment in the city, doesn't have a reliable car for the commute, and can't afford childcare for her daughter during the transition period. So despite having the skills, she remains trapped in low-wage work. Now let's talk about Mike, Sarah's neighbor. Mike has a brilliant business idea for a food truck. He's done the math, researched the market, and knows he could make it work. But banks won't give him a loan because he has no credit history, no assets to use as collateral, and lives in a zip code that banks consider high risk. Without startup capital, his dream remains just that, a dream. Meanwhile, someone from a wealthy family with connections could easily get funding for a similar idea. This brings us to one of the most devastating aspects of poverty traps, the health crisis cycle. When you're poor, you often can't afford health insurance or regular doctor visits. This means small health issues become major emergencies. Let me give you a concrete example. Jennifer works 2 part-time jobs with no benefits. She develops diabetes but can't afford regular medication or doctor visits. Her condition worsens, leading to emergency room visits that cost thousands of dollars. These medical bills destroy her credit, making it impossible to get better housing or transportation. Missing work due to health issues gets her fired from one job. Now she's sicker, poorer, and less employable than before. This is how a manageable health condition becomes a poverty trap. Education represents perhaps the cruelest aspect of poverty traps. We're constantly told that education is the way out of poverty, but the reality is much more complex. Let's follow the story of Marcus, a bright kid from a low-income family. Marcus excels in high school despite attending an underfunded school with outdated textbooks and overworked teachers. He dreams of becoming an engineer. But here's what Marcus faces. His family needs him to work part-time to help pay bills, so his grades suffer. Even if he gets into college, his family can't afford tuition, room, and board. Student loans seem scary because he's seen how debt destroyed his aunt's life. Meanwhile, his wealthy classmate gets into the same engineering program with lower grades because his family can afford test prep, tutoring, and application fees. Marcus ends up working full-time after graduation, never realizing his potential. But education traps go even deeper. In poor communities, schools often lack resources, experienced teachers leave for better-funded districts, and students face numerous distractions from family financial stress. It's not just about individual choices. It's about systemic disadvantages that compound over generations. Now, here's something that'll shock you. Sometimes the government accidentally makes poverty traps worse. This is called the welfare cliff, and it's more common than you think. Imagine you're a single parent making $25,000 per year. You qualify for food stamps worth $200 monthly, housing assistance saving you $300 monthly, and health insurance worth $400 monthly. That's $900 in monthly benefits. Now, you get offered a promotion that would increase your salary to $30,000. Sounds great, right? Wrong. That extra $5,000 annually makes you ineligible for all those benefits. So you'd actually lose $10,800 in benefits to gain $5,000 in salary, a net loss of $5,800. It's financially smarter to stay poor than accept the promotion. Geographic poverty traps are equally devastating and often overlooked. If you live in certain areas, rural towns with dying industries, inner-city neighborhoods with few businesses, or regions hit by natural disasters, you're geographically trapped. Consider the coal mining towns of West Virginia. For generations, families worked in mines that provided decent wages. When the industry collapsed, these communities were left with few alternatives. Moving requires money these families don't have. Staying means accepting whatever low-wage work is available. The brain drain begins as young people leave for opportunities elsewhere, further weakening the local economy. It becomes a downward spiral that's incredibly difficult to break. Social and cultural factors also play a huge role in poverty traps. In some communities, attempting to improve your situation can be seen as acting above your station or abandoning your roots. Peer pressure to conform can sabotage efforts to break free. Additionally, people in poverty often lack social networks that provide job opportunities or business connections that wealthier individuals take for granted. The psychological impact of poverty creates its own trap. Constant financial stress affects decision-making abilities, reduces cognitive capacity for long-term planning, and can lead to depression and anxiety. When you're worried about how to pay next week's rent, it's nearly impossible to focus on long-term strategies for improvement. So is there hope? Absolutely. Breaking poverty traps requires smart, coordinated solutions that address multiple barriers simultaneously. First, governments and organizations provide social safety nets like scholarships, free healthcare programs, and microloans for small businesses. These give people the initial boost they need without requiring money up front. Social security systems are crucial too. They provide ongoing financial support that prevents families from falling back into poverty when unexpected challenges hit, like job loss or medical emergencies. This stability allows people to take calculated risks, like going back to school or starting a business, knowing they won't lose everything if things don't work out immediately. Infrastructure investment is massive. Building roads, internet connectivity, and public transportation connects isolated communities to economic opportunities. When rural areas get high-speed internet, suddenly people can work remotely for companies anywhere in the world. Good roads mean farmers can access larger markets for their products. Public transportation gives low-income workers access to jobs in areas they couldn't previously reach. Education reform must address multiple levels. This includes increasing funding for schools in poor areas, providing free school meals so children can focus on learning instead of hunger, offering affordable college alternatives like community colleges and trade schools, and creating pathways that don't require massive debt. Healthcare solutions include expanding access to preventive care, community health centers, and mental health services. When people can manage their health proactively, they're more productive and less likely to face financial catastrophe from medical emergencies. Perhaps most importantly, we need welfare reform that eliminates the cliff effect. Instead of abruptly cutting off benefits when income increases, programs should gradually reduce support as people earn more, ensuring that working always leads to better financial outcomes. The key insight here is that individual effort alone isn't enough. These traps are systemic problems that require systemic solutions. It's not about people being lazy or unmotivated. It's about removing structural barriers that keep people stuck. Some innovative solutions are already showing promise. Conditional cash transfer programs give money to families who meet certain requirements like keeping children in school or getting regular health checkups. Universal basic income experiments are testing whether providing everyone with basic financial security eliminates poverty traps entirely. Think about this. When we understand poverty traps, we can design better policies, make smarter charitable decisions, and even identify business opportunities in underserved markets. Companies that figure out how to profitably serve low-income populations often discover massive, untapped markets. Poverty isn't just about lacking money. It's about lacking access to the tools you need. Opportunity, education, healthcare, and mobility. These aren't problems, they're traps. And no, only working harder won't fix them. Real solutions require thoughtful, comprehensive action, better education, more affordable healthcare, improved infrastructure, fair lending, and smart social policies. Understanding the complexity helps us move beyond simplistic explanations. So, the next time someone says people in poverty should just work harder or make better choices, you'll know why it isn't that simple. Poverty traps are real, they're complex, and they demand real solutions. If that hit home, know you're not alone. I made something for you, the Budget Sketchbook. It's free, and it helps you make sense of whatever money you do have. You'll find the download link below. If this opened your eyes to how complex poverty really is, please share it with someone who needs to see it, and let me know what other money concepts you'd like me to explain. Drop your ideas below. And if you've ever felt stuck like this, share your experience in the comments. This is Stick Figure Money, where money finally makes sense. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.